Alright guys, how you doing? It's Rabea, I hope you're all good. So it's been a little while since I've done a video in association with the people at Crazy Tube Circuits. If you've not heard of them, I'll link it in the description box, but they're a pedal brand based in Greece, and I've been working with them for a few years doing different videos, whether it be distortions, overdrives, boosts, delays. They kind of do a bit of everything, and they're always really reliable. They sound great, they look great, they're solid. Don't really have a bad thing to say about them at all, really. So in this video, we're going to be taking a look at one of their new pedals called CrossFire. So the CrossFire is a 2-foot switch stomp box that essentially tries to recreate the most iconic pairing of amp and pedal that we've seen in popular guitar music. That would be the Fender Blackface and the Tube Screamer. Those two with a Strat or Tele or whatever else, you know, like you've heard so many artists use that rig and it just works. It's tried and tested and it's fantastic. So what's really nice about the CrossFire is they've tried to put that in one box. On the left hand side you've got the Blackface side, and on the right hand side you've got the Tube Screamer side. There's a bunch of other stuff just to bear in mind as well. Firstly, we've got a parallel effects loop, which is immense, so you can run your favorite pedals in the loop of this pedal, which is really cool. So I'm running the UA Starlight and the Golden Reverberator to give me a little bit of ambience in the loop of this pedal. Secondly, I'll just point out that it is meant to be run into a clean signal, like a clean flat amplifier, because a lot of the tone of this pedal comes from the sort of Blackface side, so you don't want to be adding too much like gain and EQ to the amplifier you're plugging it into, because it might not really recreate the sound that it's supposed to. Obviously that's not a bad thing necessarily if you want to start tone searching and trying things out, but if we're going for that iconic sound, the Blackface and Tube Screamer, just make sure your amp's nice and flat. Just to let you guys know now, this is a sponsored video. Crazy Tube Circuits have sent me this pedal to demonstrate to you guys, show you what it can do, try to put it into context with some guitar playing, go over the feature set. Any opinions of this pedal are my own, and I'll try to keep them to the end, but I just wanted to let you guys know. Right, so in terms of functionality, as I said, you've got the left-hand side as Blackface, the right-hand side is the Tube Screamer. On the left-hand side, you've got volume and gain, as you can see, and then you've got bass, middle, and treble, which is really cool. Straight up, simple, nice and easy to use. Got a couple of little toggle switches. The first one affects the headroom, so the amount of breakup you're going to feel as you turn up the gain, and also the way it responds when you turn on the Tube Screamer is going to be different depending on whether you set that to high or low, which is really cool. Something that we all know about Fender amplifiers, especially things like the Twins, Fender Twins, and even the Hot Rod Deluxe is super pokey where when you start, you know, gaining it up a little bit. So maybe that is referencing that, I'm not sure, but that's really cool that they've put that in there, and it does affect, I guess, the top end, like the way you dig in and stuff, the response, so that's nice. Next to that, you've got a bright switch. Then on the Tube Screamer side, although seemingly quite simple, there's been a couple of modifications made to it, which I suppose have been the most common modifications you'd find on a Tube Screamer over the course of the last, I don't know how many decades of people have been modding Tube Screamers, but the two most common ones have been added to the Tube Screamer side of CrossFire. First one being a clipping mode between asymmetrical and symmetrical, and then you've got a more gain switch, which gives you more gain, so that's really cool. And it's nice having that scope on a pedal like this, trying to keep everything into one box with that effects loop as well. This could kind of be like the centerpiece of your rig. If you're running like a small club rig or something like that, you're just running a clean amplifier with a couple of stomps and little bits and bobs on your pedal board, this could be cool because it's got that effects loop in there. So that's the CrossFire in a nutshell. Of course, we're going to hear it now. Just to let you guys know what the rig is, we'll be predominantly listening to it through the Twin Sister because that's the cleanest amp that I've got, but I'm running the KHE switcher as well, so we're going to hear it into a bit of crunch on the Soldano. We're going to hear it into similar kind of tone, maybe like a push clean on the Metsubarba, and then we're going to try out the Tube Screamer side on its own, see how well it works as a Tube Screamer, tightening up a high gain tone with the JVM. So without further ado, let's check out the Crazy Tube Circuits CrossFire. Okay, so I've got my guitar. It'd be rude not to start with a Strat. In terms of the speaker tones you're going to hear, we're using the Get Good Drums Studio Cabs Cali Edition, with a specific preset I've made for my Twin Sister. So this is the Twin Sister, neck pickup straight in. It's in D standard in case you wondered. So it's really clean, as you can hear. There's really not a lot going on. I've kind of put everything to 12 o'clock and run it on low gain on the Twin Sister so that we can go ahead and turn on the Blackface side. So let's check it out. Whoa, loads more chime. It immediately reminds me of that kind of scooped kind of blackface tone. Let's take the bright switch off. It was on, actually. So that sounds pretty nice. Let's throw on some reverb so it's not completely dry. This is coming in the loop of the CrossFire. It sounds really nice. Sounds really Fendery, I'd say. That's everything at 12 o'clock. It's on the high headroom setting with the bright switch out. One thing that I was just thinking then is obviously we're running the reverb and delay in the loop of the pedal. However, the pedal is still in front of the amplifier. So if you run a lot of gain on your amplifier, it's going to do that thing that happens when you put reverb and delay in front of a gain signal. It's not going to give you that in the loop real feel. So that's why it has to be set clean on the amplifier, just so you know. Let's boost the gain. Let's have a listen. So if I boost the gain a touch more, you hear it start to have that bit of hair on it. Now if I put it in low headroom, back to high headroom again, and then back to low headroom. Now that's definitely noticeable, but it's doing that thing. What I like here is that the idea and the smart thing here is the tube screamer in front of the blackface being inherently smiley face, then the tube screamer comes in, tightens up the low end and punches the mid-range right up. So let's have a quick listen. I'm going to back off the gain a touch, put it in high headroom. Let's just have a listen to the EQ real fast, see how powerful it is. Okay, so let's try out the tube screamer side. I want to see if it does actually do what a tube screamer is meant to do. So I've put everything at 12 on the blackface, but I have boosted the gain a touch to make the low end kind of flub out a bit. Now everything's at 12 on the tube screamer. It's not how I normally set it, but we should hear a mid hump and a tighter low end. Definitely without. Right, let's throw on some spring reverb. Maybe we'll just take that down a bit. First thing we'll try now, so that's on symmetrical clipping. Let's put it on asymmetrical. It's almost like it's more open, less compressed. That sounds and feels softer. I actually prefer the asymmetrical. Let's check out the more gain switch. So without it, let's throw it on. Okay, so we've tried it with the Strat, with the Twin Sister, and it does what it says on the tin. It sounds like a Fender Blackface with the Tube Screamer in front of it, with a couple of different little switches and things to change the feel and sound. I really like that. As you can see, these are the settings, and I've just plugged in my guitar, my Chapman. So let's listen to the difference. Let's firstly start out with how it sounds into the amp. So way darker. I mean, it just needs more life to it. So let's throw on the Blackface side. We've got that scooped thing going on. Let's throw on the Tube Screamer side. It's very, very ampy kind of. Quite like it. Next up, we're going to try it with the SLO. I've got the SLO on a crunch. This is how it sounds. Very mid-heavy. Let's throw on the Blackface side. Pretty intense. Let's throw on the Tube Screamer side. Well, that was quite a lot of mid-range. That was quite intense. Probably won't use that combination. However, you know, let's bear in mind this is meant to be an amp and cab kind of combo in front of a clean signal. Now I've started going off-piste, started mixing it with different tones. What I want to try now is see if the Tube Screamer will do what it does in metal, which is to take all the gain down, to boost the volume, and to boost the treble a little bit. I've actually got it the wrong way around. Let's take all the gain out. Put the volume up like that. On low gain, asymmetrical. So let's have a listen to the JVM on its own. So this is OD1 Orange, my favorite channel. Now let's throw on the Tube Screamer as we'd expect to use it with a high gain tone. So before, now with. And then without. Interesting. It works. That's on the asymmetrical side. Let's see what happens if we put it on symmetrical side. Well, that's cool. Wonder what happens when we do more gain. I mean, I am taking this so far away from the point it was meant to be, but it's really cool to know that it can do that. I kind of figured it would, because it is just, it's a, you know, this pedal is all analogs, recreations of these circuits. So, you know, it's a Tube Screamer, essentially. So I'm not surprised it works in that context, but it sounds really good for it. Let's throw it back on. Oh, that was with more gain on. Take it back off. One more time. And with. Like now down in like drop A or something, that would sound really cool. Okay, another really quick application test. I'm running the M0100 overdrive on a clean. So it sounds very much a clean of a high gain amplifier. Let's throw on the Blackface side. Okay, we need to tweak real fast. Take the bright switch out. Back off the treble. Back off the gain. So let's try that again. It's actually quite nice. I really like that. You know, that's just everything. I boosted the gain actually, but you can see everything's at 12 just into the clean of the M0. This is without it. Pretty nothing there, and then with it. Well, there you go. There is a look at the Crazy Tube Circuits CrossFire, the all-in-one blackface tube screamer pedal of joy. So yes, you can absolutely use the CrossFire in the way they intended it. So it gives you that blackface scooped, lovely Fender clean tone with the tube screamer in front, and run pedals in the loop and enjoy yourself for days with your little pedal board that's all efficient and works really well. Or you can try it as a tone shaping tool in front of a bunch of different amplifiers. One way that I'd like to try and use it is, for instance, on something like the SLO or the M0100 or the Marshall. Well, any high gain amplifier generally doesn't have the nicest clean tone. Generally speaking, I'm not saying they all don't, just a lot of high gain amplifiers tend not to have the nicest clean. So you could totally use this in front of the amplifier to change out the clean tone of any of the amplifiers you don't like the sound of their clean channels, give you that kind of tone shaping of that side, and then when you run over to a high gain tone on one of those high gain amplifiers, throw on the tube screamer, and essentially you've got like, it's not a tube screamer for a clean channel, because it's not, but it's got like tone shaper for the clean and tube screamer for the gain, which I think is really cool. But that's just my take on it. That's just what I think. That's my opinion. What do you think? Let me know in the comment section below. I will link it in the description box. Thank you to Crazy Tube Circuits for sending it over for me to try out. Thank you all for watching. Please like, subscribe and share. I've been Rabea, and I will see you all very soon.